Hi, I'm Justin with Blender Frenzy. I'm super late with this video, so let's just get started.
Frenzy.
If you want to know where I'm getting all the updates I talk about, just go to developer.blender.org, click on Docs, and then Release Notes, and then you can choose whichever version you want. We're going to be doing Blender 5.1, of course, and then the video sequencer down here. So I'm pulling everything from here, so if you want to follow along or go into a deeper dive, you can go here and have that information for yourself. Okay, first up is the blade tool. Now, in previous versions, if you just use the blade tool to click, it would add little cuts. I don't know if there's another shortcut now to do that, but it's actually just click and drag now. So click and drag that box, it's going to cut it out, but it's also going to fill the gap that you cut. So you can see this became closer together. Now you can open up your adjustments here on the box blade. This is on by default, but if for some reason it's not on, just make sure you have adjust last operation checked here. And then you can uncheck remove gaps, and then it will keep that gap. I'm not entirely sure what soft and hard here means. I haven't looked too much into that because, again, I don't use the blade tool much. Another way we can keep the gaps, I'm just going to undo those, holding down shift. Now you have to hold down shift before you start clicking. So hold down shift and then click and drag, and then it'll keep that. If you do it the other way, if you click and drag and then hold down shift, it's not going to listen to that. Next up is snapping to the frame ranges within a metastrip. So we can already take these and snap them to the beginning frame and the end frame, as long as we have snapping enabled and we have frame range here enabled. But what we couldn't do in previous versions is if we added all of these into a metastrip with Control G and then select it, tab into it, see now we have the frame ranges are different within the metastrip. You can see this is the beginning and this is the end over here. Originally, we wouldn't be able to snap. I'm just going to delete those, snap to these. But now we can. By default, let's move that. So the end and the beginning frames are snapped as long as snapping is on and as long as frame range is checked. Okay, so next up is reversing footage with speed control. I have this video here that I downloaded from Pixabay, I think, just of a driver driving really fast. So just select the video, Shift A, effect strip, speed control. And then if we go up to our properties panel, go to speed control and change this to multiply. And now we can type in a negative value, which we couldn't before. So -1, then reverses the footage. So now if I play this, he's driving backwards. Now the sound doesn't go backwards. So speed controls only work with video, so just keep that in mind. Also, another tip is if I get rid of the speed control, if I make any sort of cuts like this, and I just want the speed control to affect this, I have to put it in a metastrip for it to work. It's because you need a hard start and a hard end, and the easiest way to do that is to put it into a metastrip. If I don't, if I just put it on here, speed control, this speed control is going to evaluate the entire video, entire media, not just this little container here. It's going to do the whole thing. And so we're driving forward here, and then this section it'll be driving backwards. So we'll just add in a speed control there, do the same thing, -1, and there we go. So starts going forward and then going backwards. But it's reversing the footage, so it's actually starting from over here. That's why you see this little jump. Because it's not starting right here and then going backwards. It's starting from here, putting that over here. Next up is a slight change to the retiming keys. Now this is another one that I don't use ever because they confuse me. I just use speed control for retiming stuff. But if you want to use retiming, just make sure you select your strips and go to retiming, strip, retiming, and then you can add a retiming key. You can show retiming keys. So if I just show them, okay, they're here and there's not really much change. And if I hide them, which is Control R, you can see it doesn't hide them. And that's because For some reason, you have to actually select the key first for it to recognize, oh, hey, there's actually keys there. I believe also if you add a retiming key, it will recognize it. But you have to at least select one. And then now that you selected one, see, I'm just going to undo that. There's no icon. This is the new thing. This is the little update. So once I select one, this is a retiming key icon. And now if I Control R, then it will hide the retiming keys completely, but keep this icon showing us that on these strips, there are retiming keys that we've set. That's just an indication that these strips have retiming keys and you can hide them completely. In previous versions here, this is 5.0. If I did Control R to add those there, and then Control R again, okay, that's doing a different thing now because I haven't selected it. So I think I still have to select one. So select one, now it registers that I have it, and I Control R. You can see what it did is it didn't completely hide them. You can still see the retiming key and the bar that goes across there. And so that's the difference there. That was the indication that you have retiming keys on there. In 5.1 now, it's a little cleaner and it's a little bit more apparent that we have a retiming key with the icon. Group snapping has now been updated, and this is something I absolutely love. So if I select everything here and then I snap it to the cursor, you can see that it keeps the offsets relative to their positions, and that didn't used to happen. So if I open up the adjustments here, you can see the keep offset. If I uncheck that, this is how it automatically in previous versions would snap everything. And there was no way to keep that offset. What you would have to do is put everything in a metastrip, snap it, and then get rid of the metastrip, which is a little bit tedious. This is a lot easier, and then we can choose to keep the offset. Now, this is relative to the active selection. The active selection is the one that has the white outline. All of the other ones have an orange outline that means that they're selected, but they're not active. So, for example, if I have this one selected, which I can change by holding down Shift and then clicking. So I can click to change the active selection, and that keeps everything still selected. So if I have this one selected as the active selection, then I press S to snap, it will snap relative to that and keep everything relative as well. And this snap side here, I can choose either left or right. So right now it's on the right, so that means it snaps it to where everything is on the right side of the playhead. If I want to snap it the other direction, I just choose left, and then it snaps everything to the left of the playhead. So let's see if I wanted to do it here. Just Shift, select this one, S, and of course nothing changes because it is snapping using this one to the left. But if I change that to right, then it will do that one, and so on and so forth. You can also adjust the frame offset. So I can say I want to snap it here, but I want to snap it with a 10 frame offset. And remember, this is snapping to the playhead. So if I press S, it's snapping here. It's not snapping to the frame range. Functionality of the preview got updated to where we can now take this and press R to rotate, which we could before. But if we hold down Control, now it will rotate in increments. And you can see those increments right up here on that rotation at the top. And you can see right here, if I don't hold Control, it's smooth. But then if I hold Control, it snaps to increments to make it easier to line things up together. Same thing is with the scale. So scale that and then hold down Control, and it will snap that scale, which is really nice. And the properties panel was also cleaned up. So right here, so you can see here, this is 5.0 and this is 5.1. So we have channel, start, duration, end, strip offset, start, end, hold offset, start, end. It was hard to understand what that actually means. Here we have left handle, strip duration, right handle. So we automatically know what we're selecting here and what we're changing. And then the content start and the duration of the content, and the content trim start. If we come over here, let's just get rid of this. So obviously this will be the left handle this is the right handle. So if I take this left handle here and move it, you can see it's moving the left handle. If I take the right handle and move it, it's moving the right handle. The strip duration also moves the right handle, but probably a little bit different calculation. I'm not entirely sure, but you can still see what's happening. And now if we turn on those offsets again, you can see that here's the content within the container. So the handle and the strip duration and the right handle are all about the strip container itself, the one that has the handles. But then you have the content, which is the video or the audio inside of it. So now we have content start and content end, and you can see that that moves the content over here, where the starting of the content is going to be different. That's essentially just like moving the whole thing. So wherever the content actually starts. So that would be, let's check here. Let's go to that. So that's frame 100. So content start here should say frame 100. Of course, I'm not probably on the right frame. Yeah, okay, you're right. So here we go, 101. And that's where the content actually starts here. The duration of the content is 403, which would be over here. So 504 minus 101, you get 403. That's how long the content is. The end is 504, obviously there, but I can change that as well. Except for I can't. it's grayed out. And I'm not entirely sure why that's grayed out. Maybe that's just for reference. Maybe you can't actually change those. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. But now if I wanted to actually trim the content, so content trim start, you can see, this is doing something that I actually think is not very intuitive. I would imagine just the offsets here to move, like content trim start from the beginning, and then but it's also pushing the handle in. I wouldn't imagine that should do that. I think that they should be separate. But the main point is that the properties panel is now cleaned up a little bit to make it a little bit more clear what these sliders actually do. Now let's talk about some of the modifier updates, and this is a big one, the sequencer strip info node. That's this little thing right here, and I just set this up just like they did on the website. So again, if you go to developer.blender.org, go to docs and release notes, and then click on this video sequencer, you'll get this, and you can scroll down, and I just did the same thing that they did here with the ellipse mask. So this is their setup, and the way they have this is if we just play this here, you can see that the iris here is opening up, or this ellipse mask is opening up to reveal the video footage here. Let's see without this. So let's just unplug this. You can see the size. We can control the size of this ellipse right here. And we could set these keyframes here on certain frames. So for example, let's undo that. I could go back to the beginning, set a keyframe here, and then to the end, and then open it up and set a keyframe here. And that would have the same effect or a similar effect like this. But the problem with that is if I decide to cut this or shorten it, then it's only going to go halfway because, well, we haven't reached the frame over here yet. So that's where this comes in. We can now read the start and end frame of any strip, plug it in here. This would be the time curve, and into the size. Now, again, I don't exactly know how all of this works. I'm actually going to go ahead and, before that, let's just clear keyframes, and then we can plug that into the size. And now the start frame and the end frame determines what the size it is. So if I go to the beginning, it's the smallest, and at the end, it's the largest. But let's just say we shorten it to there. Well, let's refresh. And now the ellipse will be the smallest here and the largest here. So if it's shorter, it'll be faster, or if it's longer, it'll be slower. And we don't have to add any keyframes. It is procedural, it is dynamic, and that is the benefit of this sequencer strip info node. And of course, this is reliant upon the compositor modifier. So this has the compositor modifier on it, and this compositor modifier is what this is here. So you see we're in sequencer, in the compositor, and the sequencer compositor nodes. We can actually just rename this ellipse if we wanted to. Is that how you spell ellipse? No. Right here. 2 L's. Okay. There we go. So we have our ellipse compositor nodes, which control this. And you can see the group input is over here. So if I just plug this straight into this, that's just the strip itself. So the strip itself is plugged into the bottom of this mix node here. And again, I don't know how all of this works or why. I'm just copying what they did on the developer page. But you can see the usefulness of this, not just the start frame and end frame, but we've got location, rotation, and scale as well. And there's this opens up a whole bunch of opportunities for creativity. So now let's talk about the mask modifier. So here I have just a regular mask. If I just isolate that, you can see it's black text with a white background, meaning all of the black areas are going to be transparent, showing through down to the video, which is here. All of where the black text is, that's where you see the video. And everything out here is black because it's the color that is taking this mask. So it's the color that has the mask modifier. And then I've chosen strip and to use the mask that I named mask as the strip, this text here. So this is just a regular JPEG that I rendered out, just a still image. So with the color, if I hide the mask, then it's just a black color. And I can change this color to be any color that I want. And then turn that mask back on and you can see just like that. So what's the update? Well, I wouldn't be able to find this mask JPEG as an option in the dropdown here if this was in a metastrip. So for example, if I took that and I just placed that into a metastrip, that's Control G, then I went to the color and I decided, oh, I want a mask, but I want to use a mask that's inside of a metastrip. So I come here to the color, get our mask modifier, and then it would not show up here. So now we can choose this mask and we can pull it from inside the metastrip. We can also do it the other way around. Take just these and put this into a metastrip and go into the metastrip. And likewise, if this wasn't here, so let's just get rid of the whole thing. And then we say, oh, we want to use a mask and we want a strip mask and we want to use this mask. Well, this wouldn't show up because we are inside a metastrip and it would only read things that were inside the metastrip or outside the metastrip, but you couldn't cross between the two. But now you can, and we have that option there. And I had come across situations just like this in the past, so I'm so glad that we now have that crossover. So now something really exciting is new audio modifiers. So I've selected just the audio here. And if I go to the modifiers tab and click add modifier, I now have sound equalizer, pitch, and echo. Now I think sound equalizer was there in 5.0, but we now have pitch and echo in 5.1. And I've recorded this test footage here to demonstrate these, but I'll let Test Justin tell you how it's going to be done. Okay, I'm recording this for the pitch and the echo. So I think we're going to do the pitch first. So we can do pitch going up right here. And then okay, so pitch going up right here. I'll just select this, add modifier, pitch. I can go up or down. I'll just start playing it. I think I'm going to save it. It might crash. This has been a little bit buggy for me, but let's try. And you can hear my
pitch change. And the beauty about this is that changing the pitch doesn't necessarily change the
speed. I also think that we can do the speed without changing the pitch.
But that's a different
thing. This is just for the pitch.
Okay, and I'll cut that there. And then we'll take it off of this and we'll just have this strip with the pitch. I don't know what all of these mean or what they do, but you can do different things. So ratio is a way that you can change it as well.
Pitch change, and the
beauty about this is that...
But we can also preserve vocal formants.
Beauty about this is that...
Oh gosh, oh!
Changing the pitch doesn't necessarily change the speed. I also think that we can do the speed without changing the pitch, but that's a different thing.
Okay, that's interesting. 1.2
change, and the beauty about this is that changing the pitch doesn't necessarily change the speed.
Okay, let's go.
This is just for the pitch.
Oh, it's not.
So
you can hear my pitch change, and the beauty about this is that changing the pitch doesn't necessarily change the speed.
Ooh, see, I can make my voice a little bit lower.
Okay, and then the echo. So let's get on with that.
So then we can make it normal again right here, and then we can do the echo right here. So echo, echo.
And that's delay of 1. The best echo I found is like is it 0.1 or is it less than that? It might be 0.01.
So then we can make it normal again right here, and then we can do the echo right here. So echo, echo. And we can adjust the echo, how much echo we want with different sliders. I don't know exactly what each slider does specifically, but the fact that we have these two audio modifiers now is just the start of what we're going to be able to do in Blender with audio in the near future.
Speaking of audio and metastrips, what we now have with a metastrip is if we put multiple videos or audio into a metastrip, we now have a volume control for the global metastrip. So everything in the metastrip, I can change the volume all in one go right here, which I've also come across in the past where I've wanted to do this, and it's been a little bit annoying because what you would have to do previously is select all of these audios individually. And let's just disconnect those. So I'd select all of the audios, change the volume for one of them, maybe, and then you can Alt click to change the volume for all of them at the same time, or change it for one of them, right click, and then copy to selected, and that would change it for all of them. Or I'd have to just change them individually. But now in the Metastrip, we have this volume control. Let me just show you here. I can just control the whole thing. Just like that. And this is super useful, especially if you have something like this, where you have a whole bunch of cuts, and then all of these are in a metastrip. Now I can just do it globally, like I just showed you. Otherwise, with all these cuts, you'd have to come into the metastrip, then select only the audio, and then make sure one of them is active, and then change the volume by Alt clicking and dragging for all of them, or change it, right click, you know the rest. Just something else to be more efficient, adding to quality of life. Another quality of life change is the way proxies are built. So if we come down to our timeline, press N, then go to proxy, and per strip is okay. Let's select all of our video strips, and then set selected strip proxies. We'll say 25%. I'm going to go ahead and check overwrite just for the demonstration here. Click set, and then we should now have this for all of them. So if I select each of them, you can see they all have this on them. So let's just select all of these. And now if I click rebuild proxy and timecode indices, you can see the proxies are being rebuilt here. And that is the update. So previously this little progress bar down here would show the individual strips. So it would go from 0 to 100 for each strip. So then in this case, you would have 3 times that you would see the progress bar. But that was a little confusing because you didn't know then when you were actually going to be done with all of them that you had selected. But now, if I rebuild, this building proxies here is for everything. So I know that whatever percentage is here, that means that's the percentage of all of the videos that I have selected being built together. And that helps us to know approximately when the proxies will be done rendering. So another quality of life improvement right there. Okay, so now here's a change that doesn't actually improve anything for me necessarily, and for probably a lot of people, but it will for those who do the right-click select mode in Blender. So, but first I'll show you what just a regular left-click select does. So this is just left-click select, meaning you select stuff by clicking the left mouse button. So if you press and hold Shift and then right-click, it will solo all of these strips, or the strips that you're on. So I can look at, even though the color, you see, this is where the camera is looking down, and these are your layers. So this is the top layer, which is why we see that. And then here's the next layer, and then here's the next layer, and then here's the next layer. So if I hold down Shift and then right-click and drag, I can just solo any of these strips so that I can see it in the preview. And this is super helpful, so you don't have to go up here and click Hide to hide the color, and then, okay, hide this one, and then hide this one. Okay, that's what's underneath this. So we can actually keep these on hidden and Shift right click to see those at any point. But if you're using a right click select mode in Blender, so if you go to Edit, Preferences, and select with mouse button and you click right, then by default, if you right click, that selects everything, which some people really like. So then by default, it is Shift and then left click and drag that solos the strips. So there you go. If you didn't know about soloing strips at all, then this is a double whammy for you. But if you already did and you use the right click select, then the default is basically just the opposite. So it's the Shift left click and drag. All right, and last but not least is the audio bitrate. So if we go to our output and we are outputting a video and we come down to our audio and down here on the bitrate, this used to only go up to 384 kilobits per second, but now it goes up to a maximum of 2048. And of course, if you want to go into more detail and see all of the updates yourself, go to developer.blender.org, docs, release notes, and then 5.1, and then go down to the sequencer, the video sequencer. We also got Python API stuff, stuff under the hood and the coding and stuff if you're a developer. I'm not, so go ahead and check that out if you are. So those are all the changes for 5.1. 5.2 is coming out later this summer, and there's already going to be a lot of changes that we'll have to do another update for, and I'm probably going to even do a live stream. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned and you will see me in the next one.